Stratford-upon-Avon sits on the river of the same name, which originates from the Northamptonshire hills and flows for 85 miles to Tewkesbury, where it makes a confluence with the River Severn. The river has been nicknamed as the Shakespeare Avon after the famous playwright and poet William Shakespeare, who was born in the town in 1564. He died 52 years later in 1616, and his burial place is within the Church of the Holy Trinity, which is a tourist hotspot, receiving more than 200,000 visitors per year. As well as this, tourists can visit his home located on the main high street, or tourists can watch a play at the Royal Shakespeare's Theatre, and even explore the butterfly world nearby. One could even take refreshment in the myriad of pubs that are dotted within the town. The Garrick Inn is reputed to be the oldest, with an inn existing on the site since medieval times. Since 1976, Stratford-upon-Avon Station has remained the terminus of the line for both the north, south and west. The ticket hall was renovated in 2019, funded by both the Department of Transport and the Warwickshire County Councils. Through services south of here were withdrawn in 1969, but the line remained open for freight until a derailment prompted to shut the line altogether. The station remains a classic example of what a GWR town station used to look like, with discreet-looking modern lifts hiding behind the canopied footbridge. Our journey through Warwickshire will give us the delights of two driver's eye views. We will firstly travel to Leamington Spa, taking approximately 32 minutes to travel the circuitous 15 miles via Wilmcote and Hatton. Services are normally formed by two-car class 165 turbo DMUs operated by Chiltern Railways. Shortly after leaving the station, the train crosses over the Stratford Canal. It was constructed between 1793 and 1816, running for 25.5 miles in total, and consists of two sections. The dividing line is at Kingswood Junction, which gives access to the Grand Union Canal. The maximum speed limit on the Stratford line is 60 miles an hour. Our first stop is the most recent station on the branch, Stratford-upon-Avon Parkway. In similar contrasts to Warwick Parkway, the station was built as a park and ride facility, occupying up to 725 parking spaces and also serving the suburb of Bishopton. The station opened in 2013. The Stratford line was built by the Stratford-upon-Avon Railway, which had opened on the 10th of October 1860 as a branch line to the Shakespearean town from Hatton. The following year, the route was connected through Stratford to a branch line from Honeybourne, which had opened a year earlier in 1859, and this later enabled the development of through mineral and passenger traffic. The company was absorbed by the GWR in 1883. Wilmcote station, as we see it today, dates from 1907, having replaced the original 1860 station, which had been located slightly to the north of here. Like so many stations on the Stratford line, it is unstaffed, with ticket vending machines placed on the platforms. The village of Wilmcote is located a short distance over to the west, with a small population of 1,229 since the 2011 census. A notable building located on Station Road is Mary Arden's farm, once the home of William Shakespeare's mother. Opposite is the renamed Palmer's Farm. This was the home of Adam Palmer, who was a friend and neighbour of the Arden family. The station still retains a lot of GWR character, the canopied footbridge and lampposts all being painted in colours reflecting the company. get a cautionary signal on the approach to Bearley Junction. Running 9 minutes late, we pass a West Midlands Railway Class 172 Turbostar, forming a 5-car service from Kidderminster. The junction feather is illuminated, showing us we are branching off the main route towards Hatton. The double line straight ahead is referred to as the North Warwickshire Line and was a late addition to the national railway network, having opened in 1907 to goods and 1908 to passengers. The line was meant to be built by an independent concern, but as they couldn't raise the necessary funds to build the line, the GWR took over and incorporated a scheme of their own, constructing a new Birmingham to Cheltenham via Stratford main line. This part of our route was built with double track as late as 1938, but British Rail removed it in 1969. Bearley was once a junction station. This was with the branch line to Ulster, running for 6 3/4 miles in length, where it joined the Evesham to Redditch line. It was built by the Ulster Railway Company, enabling the manufacturing town to be connected to the rest of the GWR system in 1876. It passed through sparsely populated country, meaning it was never commercially successful, and closed in 1951. Claverden, like the majority of stations on our route, are managed by West Midlands trains. However, that company stops here 3 times in one day, whilst Chiltern stop here 6 times. There was a second platform which can still clearly be seen underneath the undergrowth. It was shut in 1969 when the line reverted to single line status. An advance warning of the 15 mph limit ahead. The Stratford line is formed by a triangle off the Chiltern main line, with the 3 sides of its apexes being used daily by all passenger trains. Hatton West Junction is directly beneath the M40, with the single line diverging to the left with a higher speed limit to us, turning to face the north and Birmingham. The wheels protest bitterly on this sharp radius curve, turning us to the east in the direction of Hatton. Approaching Hatton Station, the speed limit has now dipped down to 10 miles an hour. Hatton Station, with its unique 3-platform layout. The village of Hatton is just to the south of us here. The community evolved around the station during the 1950s and 60s. Close by is the Hatton Locks on the Grand Union Canal, formed of 21 locks in the space of 2 miles, rising at 45 metres. The station is managed by Chiltern Railways. we cross from the passenger loop to the up main. Milepost 112 is measured from London Paddington via Oxford and Reading. The line speed is 70 miles an hour for the majority of services, while the HST sign at 85 applies for cross-country voyages and loco-hauled stock. This part of the route from here into Leamington was built by the Birmingham and Oxford Junction Railway, promoted by the GWR to gain a route from its southern base towards the industrial centres of the West Midlands. At that time, when it opened on the 1st of October 1852, the GWR was using Isambard Kingdom Brunel's broad gauge, though this was converted to standard gauge in 1869. Here we pass a cross-country Voyager, Class 221, en route from Banbury to Newcastle. While the line speed is only 90 miles an hour, the Class 165 Mark Zeros can only achieve 75 miles an hour. It's quite ironic as their siblings at Great Western Railway obtain a top speed of 90 miles an hour. Warwick Parkway was opened in 2000 as a park and ride facility for both Warwick and Birmingham. Most services that stop here are operated by Chiltern Railways on their London to Birmingham corridor. In this video we get to call at Warwick, as our Kidderminster to London driver's eye view saw us run through non-stop. Apart from this 2-hourly service, there is an hourly train that is bounded for Birmingham Snow Hill, whilst West Midlands Railway augment the services at the station by calling a handful of peak hour trains. town has ancient origins and an array of historic buildings, notably from the medieval, Stuart and Georgian eras. It was a key fortified settlement from the Middle Ages, the most notable relic of this being Warwick Castle, which is a major tourist attraction today. In 1694, the town was mostly destroyed by the Great Fire of Warwick, with most of the town being rebuilt with fine buildings dating from the 18th century. The town is a delight to visit with a sizable population of 37,000. The two towns of Warwick and Leamington are merely as one these days, and as we cross the River Avon, we are now in Royal Leamington Spa. We pass beneath the Grand Union Canal. A Class 168 Turbostar en route to Birmingham's Snow Hill from London Marylebone.
The next station is Nuneaton Spa. Please ensure that you record your personal belongings when leaving the train.
The line from Coventry, for which we shall be taking shortly, comes in from the left. Unusually, because of the track layout here, all local trains from both Stratford and Moor Street terminate in Platform 2. After the passengers have disembarked from the train, drivers then perform a shunt movement by taking the train back the way it came before reversing and entering Bay Platform 1 over to our far right. The current station at Leamington Spa had opened in 1852. It was called just Leamington, but became Leamington Spa in 1913. Today the station is listed and has 4 platforms, 2 of which are west-facing bays, used by both West Midlands trains and Chiltern railways. Destinations in the south are mainly to London Marylebone, but cross-country trains call here too, providing long-distance services to Manchester, Reading, Southampton and Bournemouth. The railway station has a grand exterior, which was designed in the then popular Art Deco style between 1937 and 1939. The pretty little spa town is located 20 miles south of Birmingham, with a population of 51,000 since the 2021 census. Initially a small village called Leamington Priors, it grew into a spa town in the 18th century, following the popularisation of its water, which was reputed to have medicinal qualities. The town takes its name after the river Leam, which flows through the town's heart, and by the 19th century, the town experienced one of the most rapid expansions in England. Returning back to the station, a brand new Class 196 DMU arrives in Bay Platform 4, arriving for our next driver's eye view. We shall be taking this train to Nuneaton, running via the city of Coventry, taking approximately 40 minutes to cover the 20 miles. The B stands for the branch route towards Kenilworth and Coventry. Now take the route towards Coventry and turn to the north. All the way to Coventry, we are travelling over the independent Warwick and Leamington Union Railway, which opened on the 4th of December 1844. The company had submitted plans for a new line connecting Leamington with the London and Birmingham Railway at Coventry, and these were approved by Parliament 2 years before opening. Here the line crosses the River Leam. This was where the southern terminus of the W&L was located at Milverton. Sadly, this was located in an inconvenient part of the town, way outside the centre, so in 1851 the line was extended closer to Leamington's town centre and established a new station called Leamington Spa Avenue. Incidentally, by that time in 1851, the line was in the hands of the LNWR, the company taking over the operations of the W&L in 1847. It's worth mentioning that the Avenue station became the railhead for other LNWR lines, such as the route to Rugby via Daventry. The Avenue station was closed along with the branch to Rugby in 1965, and all services on this line were diverted into today's station. This impressive viaduct crosses over the River Avon. Noticeably, the countryside is flooded due to heavy rain caused by the storms in the early part of 2024. Visible on this route is the fluctuation of rising and descending gradients. The line is now a single route since 1972, with a passing loop provided at Kenilworth that was recently reinstated in 2007. Here we cross the A46 Warwick bypass. Look carefully at the approaching overbridge and you can see a coat of arms, constructed by means of red sandstone and dating from around 1844 when the line opened. There is in fact two coat of arms carved into the bridge. The first belongs to that of Chandos Lee, 1st Baron Lee, the landowner whose fields are connected by this bridge. The other coat of arms on this bridge is a combined design for his wife and mother-in-law. Incidentally, this line between Leamington Spa and Coventry has been referred to as the Elephant and Bear line, possibly because the coat of arms for Coventry is that of an elephant, with the design of Coventry Castle on its back. However, you might think then naturally that Leamington's coat of arms is that of a bear, but it isn't. It has a lion drawn into the shield. So where does the bear come from? Well, the bear is in fact on the coat of arms for Warwickshire. The bear symbolises boldness and courage. The most recent station to open on our journey is Kenilworth. The station we see today dates from April 2018, supported by both Cross Country and the Warwickshire County Council. Despite the fact the station's reopening had been supported by Cross Country, it was West Midlands Trains who started operating services here. The first station opened with the original line of 1844, but it was rebuilt in 1884 when the route was doubled and a new cut-off line opened to Berkswell, avoiding Coventry Station altogether. The original station closed in 1965. The only passing loop on the line, fulfilling its job well, as sat in the up loop, is a Class 66 diesel locomotive, head code 4 Oscar 21, working from Trafford Park Euro Terminal to Maritime Freight Terminal in Southampton. Diverging to the northwest was where the aforementioned cut-off line to Berkswell diverged, opening in 1884. This new cut-off line, avoiding Coventry, provided the LNWR with a route between Birmingham and Leamington that was similar in length to the GWR's rival route through Solihull. The route closed in 1969, and the The track bed of this former railway has been converted into a greenway for walking, cycling and horse riding. This newly constructed bridge takes us over the path of the brand new high-speed 2 route between London Euston and Birmingham Curzon Street, at the time of filming still under construction. This is Gibbet Hill Junction, the end of the single line. It's double track or more all the way to Nuneaton. Pass under the A45. This bridge we cross has yet another coat of arms inscribed into the red sandstone, this time bearing the coat of arms of the Gregory family, who lived at the nearby Stratford Manor. Like that of the other bridge we pass under near Kenilworth, since 1955 both bridges have been granted Grade 2 listed protection. Just below the 40 mph sign is the flange lubricator, which is squirted onto the rails to prevent excess noise caused by the wheels as they traverse this tight bend. For the first time in our journey, we encounter overhead catenary as we curve sharply round from a northeasterly heading to the northwest and then the west. Converging on the right is the electrified West Coast Main Line from London Euston, nowadays used by both Avanti West Coast and London North Western Railway services. Coventry is managed by AWC and has 4 through platforms, serving a city with a population of around 345,000. Although most of the station dates from around the 1960s, when the WCML was electrified, a brand new station building was opened in 2022, provided with a brand new concourse, shop outlets and an overbridge added with lifts. It is planned from the mid-2020s that Coventry Station is to be served by the Coventry Very Light Rail system, promoted as being the first of its kind in the UK, and when finished, it will also be the first tram network to operate in Coventry since the Second World War. The B this time is the route indicator, standing for Bedworth, as we prepare to cross the WCML to the branch line. WCML to Birmingham New Street continues straight ahead, the route being built by the London and Birmingham Railway in 1838. The line speed between here and Chilvers Cotton Junction is just 45 miles an hour. To the right is the carriage sidings. Located around here, the London and Birmingham opened a small motive power depot, only for it to be replaced by a larger depot in the fork between the Leamington and Rugby lines in 1866. This line to Nuneaton opened on the 2nd of September 1850, constructed completely by the London and North Western Railway. Now traverse the magnificent Spon Lane Viaduct, which has 28 arches and a quarter of a mile long. However, in 1857, 23 of the arches collapsed. The reason was blamed on shoddy workmanship and poor quality materials. It took 3 years to repair the viaduct, meaning passengers had to get off at Cowden Road Station and take a horse-drawn omnibus into the city centre. Cowden Road Station opened with the line and closed in 1965. The signal box, which dated from 1876, was closed in 2009 when signalling passed to the West Midlands Signalling Centre in Birmingham. The box stood another 5 more years until it was demolished. This was the location of Daimler Halt. Opened in 1917, it was unusual in that it was built solely for the use of employees at the Daimler Company. The company manufactured in British motor vehicles. One of the platforms still remain of Falls Hill Station, also closing in 1965. This is Three Spires Junction, where a freight-only branch line diverged to the left for the Prologus Park, but once the route led to a number of collieries built between 1862 onwards. They all closed in 1991. This was also the junction where another avoiding line converged from the former Humber Road Junction on the route to Rugby. It was opened in 1914 for freight traffic only, but was closed from Humber Road in 1963 after the goods traffic dwindled and therefore became a long siding from Three Spires. The last traffic to the Chrysler factory ended in 1981, and much of the former track bed has since been built over as part of the A444 Phoenix Way. Coventry Arena, concurrent with Bermuda Park, further up the line, opened on the same day, 18th of January 2016. This station was opened, as its name suggests, to serve the next door arena, the stadium being home to Coventry City Football Club. Just here was the site of Longford and Exhall, opened on the very first day and closing in 1949. Exhall is a name that sadly is associated with a terrible accident that occurred at the nearby colliery of the same name. 33 years prior, the Warwickshire coalfields had been free to any serious disaster, but this all changed on the 21st of September 1915. A paraffin lamp was overturned, causing the headgear of the downshaft to catch fire. The lives of all 375 men that were working in the pit that night were put at risk. Fumes and smoke quickly filled the tunnels, and sadly 14 men suffocated. However, one man's prompt action in closing the separation doors to limit the amount of smoke that entered the workings helped to save the rest of the men. Here there was a trailing junction where a goods-only line served the Wyken and Craven collieries. Beyond the former junction was Hawkesbury Lane Station. There is a rail connection here with the now closed Merco oil terminal. Notice that there is only a rail connection with the up line. The old line crosses the down line by means of a diamond crossover. Before Bedworth Station, a line diverged here towards the Nuneaton Colliery, in use between 1898 and 1982. Bedworth remains the only original station, however, saying that it had closed in 1965 when BR withdrew all passenger services on the line. They were reinstated in 1987 and the station reopened, but this meant that the station buildings that dated from 1850 were demolished and replaced by bus shelter style accommodation waiting areas. Rail line diverged here towards the Bedworth Colliery, later the Charity Colliery, in use between 1830 and 1924. Bermuda Park also opened on the same day as Coventry Arena on the 18th of January 2016 to serve the industrial estate of the same name. Step-free access has been provided at the station for the mobility impaired, by means of long slopes from the platforms to street level. The last closed station on our journey today was here at Chilvers Cotton, also closing like the majority on the route in 1965. This impressive viaduct crosses over a large roundabout, which is the interchange point between the A444 and A425. On the approach to the end of our journey, some trains used to continue straight ahead and pass beneath the West Coast Main Line to connect with the route to Leicester. The direct trains to Leicester finished in 2004 as part of changes to the track layout at Nuneaton station. We've now come underneath the overhead electric wires for the final time on the approach to Nuneaton. West Coast Main Line from London Euston comes alongside, opened by the Trent Valley Railway in December 1847. Over to our far right is the aforementioned line from Leicester, now the domain of cross-country services between Birmingham New Street and Cambridge, opened by the South Leicestershire Railway in 1864. Nuneaton today has 7 platforms and managed by London North Western Railway. Most of the passengers who alight here interchange with the various routes. This is also a hotspot for many train enthusiasts, writing down the unit numbers of the myriad of multiple units in passenger service, or for the numerous amount of freight which pass en route to destinations to as far as Felixstowe or Moss End. The station had been known from 1924 to 1969 as Nuneaton Trent Valley, to distinguish itself from the now closed Nuneaton Abbey Street on the Midland Railway built line to Birmingham.